Hi, everyone. It's Tessa.
And Joe.
From the Unveiling Paradise podcast.
Tessa, summer is almost here, and so many of our listeners are about to have their epic destination wedding.
And we are so excited for you guys.
Before the big day, guys, we want you to make sure you listen to these 3 episodes.
Episode 62, Deep Diving Your Wedding Ceremony.
Episode 53, Questions Your Wedding Guests Will Ask.
And episode 31, The Final Countdown to Your Wedding Day.
And if you're planning your wedding here in Hawaii, hit us up and ask us about our Unveiling Paradise podcast promo.
Happy planning.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unveiling Paradise podcast show. Hi, Tessa.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
So good. All right, I have a big topic for us to take on today. We are talking about this, creating your wedding dream team.
I love that. Wedding dream team. What does that even mean?
Right? Seems a little abstract, but here's what we're going to talk about. All right, your wedding is the party of your life, but it's not your everyday household party. Like when you plan your wedding, all your family, all your friends are there. You're serving food. You've got this amazing itinerary. You've got all these things happening, but it's different than a party at your house. Do you ever host parties at your house, Tessa?
Yeah, all the time.
Do you enjoy them? Is it super stressful?
Well, okay, I guess the honest truth is I don't host parties at my house. I host parties elsewhere because I don't want to do the work. I don't want to be the one cleaning up, cooking, washing, dishes at the end of the night. Like, I like to show up.
So you enjoyed, yes, being totally catered to. And okay.
Always. I love being catered to.
So
yes.
I'm a cheapo, right? And I can't afford your lifestyle. But I love having parties at my house. I love it. I think it's so fun when you get your friends, your family there, you're eating good food, and you're like, I don't know, drinking good drinks and all this stuff. But what I don't like is all of the work, all of the stress that goes into before everyone shows up. You're cleaning that house. You're making sure that everything smells good, looks good, and is perfect. You've got to get all that food ready. You've got to, make sure that, everybody knows when to be there, how to be there, where to park, whatever it is. And then after the party's over, you have all of that cleanup. The cleanup is the worst. You're like everything, your whole house that was so pretty like a few hours ago is now just a mess. That is not what you want to experience on your wedding day. So when we're talking about your wedding day, we want you to walk into this party and show up. You are the guest of honor, and at every single touch point, every single person is there to support you. You don't have to do anything. You just get to be in those moments, not do any cleaning, not worry about if, so-and-so knows where to park, and not have to think about anything. That is our goal. That is our goal for every wedding, that our couple gets to have that experience, stress-free experience.
And I think that's the amazing thing about a wedding, right? Is you've invested so much time and money and energy into this. The last thing you want to do on the day of your wedding is think about cleaning up after, or again, washing dishes or the food. Like, all of these things should be in order. You're working with amazing vendors. They've got it. You can trust that they are going to manage that day for you. So you can literally show up looking your best, having the best day ever, and just walk away at the end of the night and say thanks so much and just be done.
This is why you plan your wedding a year, 2 years out. You do all of this work. You choose the right team, the right vendors to make sure that when you show up on your wedding day, it just happens without a hitch. And that's why it's so much more intensive than just planning a household party. You are trying to create that perfect team of professionals that are going to make your vision come to life. How do we do that? That's the $1 million question. And we will get into that on today's show. So let's get started.
Welcome to Unveiling Paradise, your go-to destination wedding podcast. I'm Tessa, wedding planner and owner of Fred & Kate Events.
And I'm Joe, wedding and adventure photographer of Joseph Esser Photography. We are based in Hawaii, one of the biggest, most popular locations for destination weddings.
We want to share our real-life experiences with you, give you insight from a professional's perspective, and still make sure you're having fun in the process.
We're huge believers in the fact that planning a destination wedding can be one of the most amazing experiences, and we want to bring you along.
We're so excited to talk with you about weddings, Hawaii, and everything else under the sun.
So pack your bags and let's get started.
Welcome back, everyone. We have so much to talk about today, creating your wedding dream team. So Tessa, I want to start today's conversation with this question. Have you ever been working with a client and they say, oh, I'm thinking about hiring so-and-so. And you say, ooh, don't do that. They don't get well with other vendors. Has that ever happened to you where like your client might be looking at someone and you're like, oh my God, they're not going to support you on your wedding day. They're a nightmare to work with. Has that ever happened?
For sure. And when you're looking at different vendors, a lot of it's how do they get along with each other? And also for me as a wedding planner, I really get to know my couples and their personalities. So will they get along with them? I think a lot of times, even if they may get along well with the other vendors, if I know they're not a good fit for the couple, if I know that they're not bringing that vibe that the couple wants, sometimes I'll advise them, maybe look at this person instead, or this might be another option. It's not that they're going to ruin your wedding day, but can we make it as amazing, as memorable, as stress-free as possible?
And seamless as possible.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
I know a photographer, I'm not going to name names, but he absolutely hates working. Actually, there's probably I could name a lot of names. A lot of photographers don't like working.
Don't name the names.
There's a lot of photographers that don't like working with videographers. They think they get in the way. They think that what they're doing is not important. And I actually know this one photographer. He actually no longer is in the business, but I remember him telling me a story about how one time it was sunset and he snuck the couple out to sunset pictures, intentionally making sure that the videographers didn't know that he had taken the couple because he didn't want them to be at the sunset session. He didn't want them to get in his way. And I was thinking like, gosh, that's shady. Like, how is the couple actually responding to that? Do they think that the videographers were incompetent and they didn't know? Or did they know that he was being sneaky and like trying to sneak the couple out and not include the videographers? Like, that happens.
It happens surprisingly more than I think people think, where I've had to actually, talk to photo and video on the wedding day. And I'm like, okay, boys, we need to get along. Like, we're here for the couple. Check yourselves. Again, check your attitudes, right? And I think that's a really important factor to consider when you're building your team of vendors. How do they get along with each other, right? It really matters when you want to have a seamless, stress-free day.
This is really the goal, right? Like our wedding day, you show up, everyone is holding hands, singing Kumbaya, and they're all making your vision, your wedding day dreams come to life. They're not fighting with each other and they're supporting you.
And I think one thing that I love, like when I get to work with an amazing team of vendors, you're not just doing your own job. Everyone is stepping in to help others. There's a bar company where he'll see me struggling and he'll run and help me grab stuff. Or if I know the photographers are falling behind, I'll send my team to help them finish up or pack up their bags or carry their lights, right? When there's that overlap where all of the vendors are not just doing their jobs well with each other, but they are supporting the other companies, it makes your day that much better. Everyone is on the same page. Everyone is really just there for you. And you just have, honestly, the best day ever.
So, Tessa, this is the big question for me. And this is an impossible question, I think, for us to answer. But how does a couple actually create that? How do they choose their wedding dream team? And I want to start with you. You are the coordinator, right? You are the, conductor of the orchestra.
So most couples will start with your venue or your wedding planner. But really, the way that I see it is find one fabulous vendor that you love, whether it be your wedding planner, whether it be your venue, whether it be your photographer, shave ice station, whatever it is, find that one vendor you love and build from there. Who are the people that you love working with? A lot of photographers that I know say, they get asked a lot, who should I book for hair and makeup? Who should I book for video? They are looking to recommendations from the vendor that they already have built a relationship with. It often is the wedding planner, just because we're one of the first one booked. And I think that's great because if we are the conductor of the orchestra, if we're the one that's managing all the vendors, we're going to know who gets along with who's going to be the best vibe for you, who's going to work with you to create that dream team. And I think it happens a lot. And I think it's a great place for you to start when planning.
And you're not going to be recommending somebody who is like the one person who's going to make the date difficult.
Yeah. There are some vendors who are consistently late, or I've had, some bartenders that drink on the job, or we've had other vendors who, just aren't the vibe. And if those are the cases, I'm not going to recommend them. Why would I do that?
Okay, perfect. Okay, so working from there. So finding that one person, and then building off it. The second point is something you had already said. Relationships matter. Relationships in the wedding industry, they do matter. You and I have been at so many weddings. I actually was at a wedding recently where the bartender needed an electrical cord. I didn't have the right color. He didn't like the color of my electrical cord, but they just needed an extension cord. And guess what? Somebody had one. If those vendors aren't there to support each other, aren't there to lean on each other, what happens? It actually just impacts the couple. If vendors are fighting with each other or so hyper competitive with each other that they can't work together well, what happens is it impacts the couple. It makes that couple's day a kind of a bumpy day, right?
So the bummer is it is a bumpy day for the couple. And, for the most part, our job is to make sure they don't see it. But occasionally it does come through, right? If you hire vendors who have never worked with each other, or not even that, but don't like each other, or they've had some bad blood, or there's just been some drama. I've had a DJ and a photo booth fight over power, an outlet, at a wedding, and they were physically arguing and we had to break it up. Or again, a lot of times at the end of the night, the catering and the bar will argue about whose trash it is, or, just making the mess and having to clean it up. So working with partners, working with vendors that, again, work together, that understand the relationships, that are willing to work together to make your day amazing, it really makes a huge difference. When you reach out to vendors and you're just asking straight for what's your price, what's your availability, without getting to know, if they are a good fit for your dream team, I think that's where things kind of start to fall apart. You don't know what you're getting if you're just reaching out for price. So have a conversation with those vendors. I think it's such a huge thing to see. Do they fit with your vendors? If you have that one amazing vendor that you love, are they similar? Do they fit that vibe? Do they all fit into your dream team? Because that's a huge deal.
Tessa, I think the thing that's really cool about living in Hawaii is the wedding industry here is really supportive for the most part. Like there's always vendors that are, being catty or whatever with each other, but for the most part, they really do want to, support each other. And just that whole collaborative element is so powerful. Regardless of who those people are that you're working with, that you're bringing in, always, always, always work with professionals. We say this all the time. When you work with a professional and this is what they do for a living, they are going to always be a better fit on your dream team than someone who maybe has never done this before, or they don't do it all the time, or they don't work at this venue. They've never worked at this venue before and they have no idea where things are at.
Exactly. And I think you're so right, because if you have a group of professionals and you have one friend or family who's helping, what will happen a lot of the times is your professional vendors, say you have a friend that's doing video and you have a professional photographer. What I've seen a lot is because the videographer doesn't know where to go or, how to plug into the DJ or whatever else, the photographer, for example, is taking time from his schedule to help the videographer because, again, they're professionals. They're going to help. They're doing their job, or the DJ is going to stop and help him. But we're taking away them from doing their jobs to help your friend or family member because you have the professionals. They're willing to do it. They're happy to do it. That's what we do. But it really does impact your day if they're not able to focus on giving you the best experience.
The interesting thing is there, I think, is a song and dance to every wedding. It's really the timeline, right? In order for your wedding day to go off without a hitch, like everything has to fall in place. Your wedding day does have markers in it, right? It's like there's your hair and makeup has to be done at a certain time in order for your photographer to be ready to get you into the dress to do your first look so that your ceremony can happen on time so your guests aren't sitting out in the sun so that they can move into eating and the food is prepped for the exact same time that your guests are seated. There is a song and dance. When you think about a wedding that's just like a huge success, it's like every single vendor nails those milestones or those marks or those time marks or whatever it is. When we work with makeup artists, I always give makeup artists such a hard time, but like this is the first point of the day. If your makeup artist isn't a team player and is just taking their good old time and, just not caring about the timeline, the whole day goes awry. I know for me as a photographer, there are makeup artists that I love working with because they're not going to screw me over on the timeline. And then I'm having to play catch up. As a professional, right, you're working with me, I can play that catch up game, but I don't like to do that because it's something like if we just are working together, we're on the same path, the same vision, the same timeline, the day unfolds perfectly.
So to your point, right? Like you're talking about hair and makeup, photography. Again, you have these markers where if we don't hit those, the whole timeline starts to fall behind. So again, you as a professional photographer, videographer, you can catch it up, but what are we losing for the client experience, right? Is the couple getting less time for photos because we had to catch up? Are they missing their first look? Or maybe we're trying to push family photos later and the sunset is not going to be as epic. Or, there's always a cause and effect. And so if you are building your dream team, keep in mind the fact that when you choose these vendors, right, again, we're not just looking at price. We're not just looking at, are you available on my day, but what is your style? What is your vibe? Like, are you one where if you're kind of a loosey-goosey couple and you're like, you know what, sunset, no big deal. Ceremony an hour late, no big deal. Then timing doesn't matter. As a type A OCD wedding planner, timing is everything for me. So if you're not on time, you're dead to me. You can't work with me. If you're late, I can't, because it's going to ruin the entire day. Like, there are so many little things that will come up that I know we're going to have to troubleshoot. I have to be able to rely on my dream team of vendors to at least do their part. At the very minimum, show up and finish on time. Do your job. Do best.
That's a good place to start. At the very minimum, show up and do your job.
Right?
Which, it's weird to say, but like that doesn't always happen, right? That doesn't always happen.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's why it's important, right? What are your key must-haves for your dream team? Not just any vendor, but for your dream team. What are your must-haves? Again, if punctuality, if timing is important for you, then we need those vendors. If you don't care about those things, but you really want this epic party and you want this DJ who's known to be late, but he's going to bring it, then that's fine too. But building that dream team really kind of comes back to what your vision is. Building your dream team means understanding what your dream is.
So this is, again, like this is a little abstract, but like when we think about like that thing, what is your vibe? Your vibe is really important to this too. Like when you are interviewing different vendors, this is such a critical point. Like, do you vibe with them?
And I think we've talked about this so many times, right? Your vibe, the vibe that you're putting off as a couple has to match with your vendors. If you are a super quiet, super mousy couple, working with someone like you or me may not be the best fit.
Or it might be the right fit,
exactly.
Where it's like that person is
they
allowing
want
me to bring them
yeah.
out of their shell. Yeah,
exactly. But it's understanding going in, what are you looking for to build your dream vision, to create your dream team. And you also, you don't need everyone to have the same vibe. If you're like, listen, I need my photographer to be hype, but my planner needs to be chill, that makes sense too, And I think it's also understanding for us, we often lean into what our couples need. Some of my couples need us to be a little more hype. So I have people on my team that are definitely more high energy. I send them first thing in the morning. Some of my more anxious, nervous brides, I'll send the calmer girls on my team, and they're there to just kind of grab coffee, steam the dresses, just kind of keep the vibe nice and calm until the wedding. So a lot of times, right, it's what is your vibe and what do you need from your team? That's where you get started when you build your dream team.
And I think when you're interviewing with all these vendors, keep that in the front of your mind. That's something that is really important. Like I talk about this a lot of times with couples. Like, if I am the weird, creepy, vibing photographer, hopefully that's not me, but like the creepy photographer is taking pictures and like, are you being appropriate? Or like, are you being weird? Like, what are you taking pictures of? Like, it's creeping me out. That's not how you want to experience your day.
Some people might want that.
Some people might want that. Hopefully that's not me. Creepy old guy. But you know what I mean? And I think that that translates to how you experience your day.
Yeah. And I think another great example that I think mentioned before is your DJ, right? Some DJs are kind of quiet, not quiet, but they play the music you want. They're on the side. They do their thing. There's other DJs where they are on the dance floor doing the electric slide with you, right? Bringing the crowd, getting you there. What do you want for your wedding day? Understanding that there are different types of vendors in each category is going to allow you to build the perfect dream team. What do you want for each vendor, right? Photography, for video, for DJ. Do you want an MC that sings? There's also some here in Hawaii, some MCs where they're comedians. So they actually put on a show also, which for me, it's a little much. I want the day to be about me, right? It's my day. I don't want it to be about them. But some couples, some of my more quiet couples like that because it deflects from them.
Right.
So then the attention is not on them and they like that. So again, what is that you want? And that's how you start building that dream team of vendors.
So Tessa, I guess this is my question for you. Like, how do you know when you're thinking through, like, and working with clients, like, who would be the right fit? You've just booked a couple, they're vibing with you, you're getting to know their vision, you're getting to know their style, getting to know, like, their energy. How do you guide them in the right direction so that the decisions they make for each of their vendors is going to be the right fit?
So that's kind of a loaded question because there are so many different ways that we can go, right? But there are some main points, right? Number one, obviously their personality. If you're with them all day, so you're a wedding planner, you're a photographer, your video, right? Someone that's with you for, 6 to 12 hours, you better like them at the very minimum, and they better be on time.
Exactly.
So do you like that person as a person, right? Like you were saying, if they're that pervy old guy standing in the corner, are you okay with that? Is that your vibe? If that's not your vibe, you need to make sure that that is not what you're hiring. Because if not, you're spending 12 hours with someone that you feel uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
In addition to that, right? It obviously has to do with budget. It always comes back to that. So do they fit in your budget?
That is always an unfortunate one, right?
I know, right? Well, no one has an unlimited budget. Even like the biggest budgets, there's still a budget, right? So it's understanding, do they fit your vibe? Do they fit your style, right? Does their, for example, with photography or florist, do you like their work, right? Because they're artists too. So it's, do you like their work? Do you like them personally? And can you afford them?
Yeah, and being realistic with your budget, unfortunately, is like a huge part of this all, right?
Yeah, it's a huge deal. So as we're kind of working through building this dream team, we often will take a step back and say, what are your priorities? What are your key things? What are the most important things to you? And it's also understanding when you're building that dream team. And I always laugh, and I hope that the florists that are listening aren't going to judge me, but I often say, florists tend to be creatives. They're a little crazy. It's okay. You're not talking to them every day, all day, and at your wedding all day. They're a little eccentric, and we're okay with that.
So do cake people. Is that true? I feel like cake people tend to be a little eccentric, but you're not really having that many touch points on your wedding day.
Well, are you talking about a cake maker or a cake eater, like
cake
myself?
Maker. Some of the cake eaters are crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was going to say it's fine. They know that we love cake and we move on. But again, a lot of these artists tend to have a little more eccentric personalities, and that's fine. Is that okay with you? And again, how much interaction do you have with them? Right? Some of my couples are like, well, this florist was a little crazy, but I think we're fine. Or again, this photographer is a little over the top, but we really like his style. The price works. We're going to make it work. I'm like, as long as you go in understanding that and knowing that you have this team of vendors and that person fits in well with that team, then it's perfect.
Does the cake taste good? Is it delivered on time? If you don't have to have any interactions with that, maybe personality has zero, influence in your decision to work with them.
Exactly. I talk about rentals all the time. When you're getting your tent, your chairs, you're never going to see those people. They're there before you arrive. I will see them. I will talk to them. You'll never know them. You'll never see them. So personality, to me, doesn't matter.
Punctuality
is everything.
Right.
Pricing matters. But personality, if these guys are yelling and swearing, you'll never know. I yell and swear before you get there too.
You sure do.
And during.
Into your microphone.
I know. Sorry.
Perfect. Yeah. And so, I mean, again, it's sort of an abstract thing, but it's like it's a balancing act, right? So I always want to just bring it back to this. Are you working with professionals that you can trust, that have relationships and respect in that industry? And I think that is really some major key things to consider when you're hiring your vendors. I know that, like, when I work with you, when I work with the florists that I love working with, the caterers, the bartenders, the people that, I know just always have that couple's best interest in mind, it's just fun now. Like, it's, I think for the client, like, end of the day, that's all we want. We want you to have best day of your life, your day to happen without any hiccups. Just to be that event that you roll into, you walk into, you just experience, and you don't have to think. You've done it all. You've done all your homework. You've hired those people that are going to be there supporting you, and you just get to enjoy. And like that for me, I know it absolutely is what makes me super thrilled and stoked to do weddings, when you have that experience with your couple.
And I think what's really amazing is a lot of times, when these couples walk into the room and they see these vendors getting along, or they see you and I and we're joking around with each other, they feel like they're amongst friends.
Yeah.
And I think they just have that very comfortable feeling. They're not feeling like, oh, they're vendors, we have to behave differently or we have to act differently. Like they love that we're coming to the table as friends and they're just having a great time. It just gives them that level of comfort.
Yep. And at the end of the day, like, this is what we're passionate about. This is what we want to do. We want to make this day come to life for them and just be the most enjoyable, memorable thing that they walk away and they say, oh my gosh, like, this was perfect and I didn't have to think.
So at the end of the day, right, when you're building your team, you want to find professionals. You want people that vibe with you, people that you trust. So good luck with your wedding planning. Stay tuned for new episodes and we will catch you back here soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Unveiling Paradise.
If you enjoy our show, please follow us and rate us on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. It would really mean a lot.
And don't forget to also get on our mailing list and follow us on Instagram. Just do it already.
Until next time, this is Tessa.
And this is Joe.
And don't forget, your happily ever after
It's just a plane ride away.